President Sisi receives his Kyrgyz counterpart in Cairo. Egyptian Defense Minister affirms Egypt has chosen peace as its strategic path. And Egypt joins UN leaders at Social Development Summit. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has received Kyrgyz President Serer Japarov in Cairo, marking the first ever Kyrgyz presidential visit to Egypt. The two leaders held bilateral talks following an official reception and signed two memoranda of understanding. President el-Sisi hailed the visit as a milestone for expanding cooperation, welcoming Kyrgyzstan's decision to open an embassy in Cairo as a strategic step to deepen economic, trade and investment ties. Discussions also addressed joint manufacturing prospects, religious dialogue to counter extremism and regional issues, including Egypt's ongoing efforts to sustain the Gaza ceasefire and host an international conference on early recovery and reconstruction later this month. Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has welcomed Kyrgyz President Serer Japarov during a joint economic roundtable, emphasizing the historic ties between the two countries and their shared potential for cooperation. Madbouli highlighted sectors of mutual interest, including energy, infrastructure, agriculture, pharmaceuticals and mining, and stressed the importance of expanding trade, boosting investments and promoting joint manufacturing. He also welcomed Kyrgyzstan's decision to open an embassy in Cairo, calling it a key step to deepen bilateral relations and strengthen economic ties. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati has met with his Kyrgyz counterpart to discuss strengthening bilateral cooperation, particularly in economic, investment, cultural and scientific fields. Abdelati highlighted Egypt's strategic role as a gateway for Kyrgyz exports to Africa and Europe, and outlined investment opportunities, especially in the Suez Canal economic zone. Both sides emphasized expanding trade, countering extremism through religious institutions, and coordination within the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. They also signed a mutual visa exemption agreement for official passport holders, reaffirming shared commitment to deeper cooperation. Egyptian Defense Minister and Armed Forces Commander-in-Chief General Abdelmegid Sa'r has affirmed that Egypt has chosen peace as its strategic path, believing that it to be the foundation for stability and development. Speaking during a military inspection of a central military zone formation, he emphasized that peace must be safeguarded by strength, noting Egypt's continuous modernization of training and weapon systems across all branches. Sa'r conveyed President Sisi's appreciation to the troops for their readiness and morale. The event showcased advanced weaponry, aerial displays, and the participation of university students, highlighting Egypt's defense capabilities and commitment to protecting national security. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati has departed for Algiers for talks with senior Algerian officials on strengthening bilateral ties and exchanging views on regional issues of mutual concern. During the visit, he will also participate in the trilateral mechanism meeting on Libya alongside the foreign ministers of Tunisia and Algeria and the UN Special Envoy to Libya. The meeting aims to advance a political settlement among Libyan parties, unify regional and international efforts, and preserve Libya's unity, sovereignty and stability. Egypt has dispatched its 66th aid convoy under the Zaid al-Izza, or Provision of Honor from Egypt to Gaza initiative, from Rafah to Gaza via the Kerem Abu Salim border crossing. The convoy transports over 250,000 food baskets, 1,000 tons of flour, and 2,200 tons of medical and relief supplies, along with 1,200 tons of fuel to the Gaza Strip. This effort forms part of Egypt's ongoing humanitarian support to Gazans. Since its first launch on July the 27th, the Egyptian initiative has delivered thousands of tons of food, medicine, baby formula, and fuel. This comes as the Egyptian Red Crescent, serving as the national coordination mechanism for Gaza aid, remains stationed at the never-closed Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing, managing logistics and mobilizing 35,000 volunteers to deliver over 500,000 tons of assistance. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati has reaffirmed Egypt's firm support for Sudan's unity and stability, stressing joint regional and international efforts to achieve a nationwide ceasefire and ensure humanitarian access. This came during his calls with his Saudi, Jordanian, and Turkish counterparts to discuss developments in Gaza and Sudan. The Egyptian Foreign Minister also condemned recent violations in al-Fasher. On Gaza, he emphasized Egypt's ongoing efforts to uphold the Sharm el-Sheikh peace agreement and preparations for Cairo's upcoming International Reconstruction and Recovery Conference. Egypt, represented by Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and Minister of Planning Rania Al-Mashot, participated in a high-level UN event on social protection and economic development during the Second World Summit for Social Development. Al-Mashot emphasized that Egypt has shifted from a protection-focused approach to an empowerment-focused strategy aimed at improving living standards and income for low-income families. She highlighted programs like Solidarity and Dignity, which international institutions are seeking to replicate for its success in strengthening social protection. She also underscored the global social protection financing gap of $1.4 trillion annually, urging innovative, equitable solutions to expand fiscal space and invest in human capital. The Cabinet's Information and Decision Support Center highlighted Egypt's potential to develop sustainable aviation fuel SAF production, leveraging local resources such as used cooking oil and agricultural waste, with global SAF demand set to soar by 2050 and the EU and UK mandating SAF use. Egypt aims to reduce emissions, boost ecotourism, diversity energy resources, and attract foreign investment. The Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources plans a pioneering SAF project in collaboration with international partners, following a feasibility study by Honeywell and European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The Ministry of Environment under Dr. Manal Awad has launched its first environmental awareness campaign, integrating people with disabilities into conservation efforts on Giftone Island in the Northern Islands Reserve. The initiative, conducted through the Hurghada Green Project in partnership with the Dalil Al Khair Foundation, featured Muhammad Karam, the first Egyptian diver with Down syndrome to hold a certified diving license, joining a symbolic dive to raise awareness about marine protection. Dr. Awad highlighted the campaign's focus on inclusion, sustainability, and community participation, praising its role in promoting ecotourism and supporting Egypt's Vision 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. Cairo will host the Egypt Gulf Cooperation Council Trade and Investment Forum on the 19th and 20th of November 2025 under the title Launching a Partnership Road Towards Strengthening Egyptian Gulf Economic Cooperation. Organized by Egypt's Ministry of Trade and Industry and the GCC Secretariat in cooperation with several Egyptian institutions, the forum, held under the patronage of Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and GCC Secretary General Jassim Al-Badawi, aims to deepen economic ties, expand trade, and promote investment opportunities in Egypt. The Egyptian Foreign Ministry added that the event will feature ministers, investors, and business leaders, B2B and B2G meetings, an investment exhibition, and field visits highlighting major projects in industry, energy, infrastructure, tourism, and sustainable development. The Egyptian cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, has approved several key decisions. The cabinet authorized EGPC oil projects in Ras Badran and Gulf of Zayt to boost production and revenue, amended the French Development Agency deal to support social protection, and extended airline fee exemptions through 2026 to promote tourism. It also launched tenders for 2 million ton cement licenses and reviewed the Health Insurance Authority's report showing 69.4 billion Egyptian pounds in revenue and 52.2 billion Egyptian pounds surplus. Additionally, the cabinet approved new Urban Communities Authority projects on gas networks, mortgages, digital transformation, and real estate, endorsed contracts in housing, utilities, transport, industry, and education, and approved contracts for high voltage towers and equipment repair to support local production. The Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit has contributed to regional stability and a significant rebound in the Suez Canal traffic. According to the cabinet, in October, 229 ships returned to transit the canal, marking the highest monthly return since the crisis began. From July to October 2025, 4,405 ships with a total tonnage of 185 million tons passed through the canal, up from 4,332 ships and 167.6 million tons in the same period last year, signaling renewed confidence in the vital waterway. Egypt's Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, Karim Badawi, has witnessed the signing of key agreements at the IPEC 2025 conference in Abu Dhabi, aimed at expanding gas exploration and production in the Eastern Mediterranean. The agreements signed with Schlumberger and Veridon include the implementation of advanced seismic survey technologies over 95,000 square kilometers and the development of the Egypt Exploration and Production Gateway EUG digital platform to attract investments. The EUG portal, extended for 3 years with $44 million in new investments, has already facilitated over $1.2 billion in exploration across 52 blocks since 2021, supporting approximately 130 wells and engaging nearly 50 international and local companies. And that brings us to the end of our news bulletin. But before we wrap it up, here is a quick recap of the top stories making headlines this hour. President Sisi receives his Kyrgyz counterpart in Cairo. Egyptian Defense Minister affirms Egypt has chosen peace as its strategic path. And Egypt joins UN leaders at Social Development Summit. For more stories and live updates, follow Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Q News EG. From all of us here, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. More news and updates and analysis will come your way here on Q News.